Hello everybody and Pegasus out there on YouTube. This is me, EA Trooper, and I'm going to read you another fanfiction called Minecraft, The True Story by Grace Hunter. Chapter 1. Wake up. He woke up with a start. Around him stood the lush green mountains. There were no homes, no cities, no life. Where am I? The man wore a teal shirt and jeans. His hair was brown and dirty. His face was hardened and mousy. His features were blocky. He felt like a square. He began to build a shelter. He looked at his wooden house with a sense of awe and power. There must be more than that I can do. He found a cave. He began to dig. Dig and dig. He collected dirt. He collected rock. He found coal. And he found iron. He learned to build a furnace and a fire pit. Then the night came. A ghoulish scream, and the man stood still. Huh? Another scream. What? The man ran for his house. When he got there, he saw himself. Well, not exactly himself, but a distorted copy indeed. He ran away only to run into other versions similar to him. These creatures had no skin and were walking piles of bones, carrying arrows. There was a howl, and the man saw a green stalk rise from the vegetation. It had really a truly monstrous face. Soon, dark eight-legged spiders began to crawl down from the trees towards him. The man was now hyperventilated as he ran to the house. One of the green stalks hobbled in its way into the man. Boom! The man fell back. He looked and saw his front of his house turned into a crater. And he turned to see the other creatures making their way towards him. He buried himself to hide for the night. Daytime. The man got out of his temporary shelter and began to build again. He fortified the walls with stone and searched for again in the caves. There were more monsters now in the caves. He had tried again and again to stop the horde, but they kept growing. Then one day he fell into a crevice near the cave wall. Instead of was a cage with a flaming tongue sticking and slithering around it. It like some slimy animal. A poof of smoke, and the monster came out. The man had a torch in hand. Without thinking, he placed it. The flames died out. The monster stopped spawning. With a new light, the man saw a chest he never made and a room composed of stone that he never placed. He crept to the chest. He found iron and apples, coca, and a disc. He didn't know what to do with it, as it was damaged, but he decided to keep it. Days turned to months, and months turned into years. The man learned a lot about survival and food. His house was now a mansion, with a garden was decorated with sculptures he made. He was his own world and his own leader. One day, while looking in many chests, the man saw a disc. The mind traveled back in time as he discovered that strange stone sculpture. He found a juice box and placed it in. It had a recording of someone else like him, yet the person appeared to be chased by some sort of monster. He had to be panting and coughing, and suddenly the creature picked up scent and gave chase. The recorded ended that way. The next night, the world the man knew grew less and less. The trees were no longer a luscious green. The hills were now gray and brown, the large scars jutting out in every direction. The man felt sad, remembering the world was simple and luscious with vegetation. So one day, the sadness made him leave his home and go on an adventure. The adventure took the man on many sights and biomes. Then, beyond the distance, he found a patch of wooden buildings. The man felt joy knowing that he was not alone anymore. He ran to the village, only to find inhabitants nothing like him. They were bald with large noses. If anything would describe them, the man thought that they reminded him of mollusks he often saw in the lake. He tried to talk, but he was met with silence. The man sighed. He dragged himself out of the village and onto his way home. The man was too sad to see the large split in the field. He fell. The darkness overtook him. The man woke up to see a sculpture he had only heard about in distant memories. Two wooden poles, supported by a larger block that held against the ceiling of stone. The distorted track lay ahead of him. The man followed it. He placed a few torches, and soon he couldn't find his way back. The place was a maze of wood and cave-ins. Once or twice he met a spider or two. He ran into a nest. Then he saw a wood change to stone as he found himself staring at a fountain of water. The stone was supported. The stone that supported it was old and had moss on it. It wasn't cobble, but rather fine stone blocks. A tiny light peeked out from the corridor ahead. The man ventured forward. The room before him had 3 pools of lava, 2 on each side, and one large one in the center. The man saw a little flaming cage and immediately placed a torch to stop anything from spawning. He then noticed that a stone platform stood on top of the lava pit. He stepped forward. The sight before him was nothing he had ever seen before. It was a black-colored portal, but no one likes the ones he had discovered in caves before. It wasn't purple or made out of obsidian. The rock around the portal had yellow color with a green top. He didn't want to step in, but he turned around and he tripped, and he fell. The man woke up in a new place. Darkness hung onto everything, and the man saw millions of strange, tall black shadows stare at him. Their eyes were glowing purple, and their ghastly jaws vented out smoke. A large roar made them all vanish. The source of the roar landed right in front of the man. It was a large beast with an armored tail and a spike jutting out from its back. Its color looked very similar to the shadows the man had seen earlier, but yet the most terrifying thing about it were its wings. It was very large fans that gleamed like obsidian. It regarded him with purple eyes, and, without thinking, the man reached out and placed a torch on its forehead. The kaleidoscope of colors shined around him. He saw an age of history flash before him. The dragon was a baby, hatched from an egg, to see a purple unicorn looking at him, with an excitement in her eyes. He was now storing books in what looked like a large tree, while that same unicorn was reading over a table. He was asleep in a small basket that same unicorn came and placed a blanket over him. He was now in a colorful shop of clothes designed for a 4-legged horse or ponies. A bright white unicorn was asking him to hand her something, with a mark on her flank was a trio of diamonds. He was with the purple unicorn, who also had a mark, which showed a star with those that shined in the night sky. He was outside, holding a device that looked some type of lens in his hands as he counted down. The device pointed at the groups of ponies. There was a pink one, the purple one, the white one, a yellow one, an orange one with a hat, and a cyan one with a rainbow mane. They all looked so happy. The man fell back, but he felt himself get pulled back in. There was a group of men dressed in armor. One of them unsheathed his sword. There was a scream in the darkness. The dragon felt himself cuddle next to the unicorn, who had felt was his mother. There was a sound of thunder and clashing hooves, and a clash of hoofs. There was the purple unicorn, so sweet and innocent and smart, lying on a white bed, tubes running through her body like some sort of twisted vein. There was a grave. There were 6 graves. There were no graves. There was a man who stood on a pedestal and was giving a speech. The fact that they died to our diseases showed that we are a cause of the deaths of, and an uproar from the crowd. There was a pleasant village in the meadow. There was an uprooted tree that bled books and paper. There was a mine, and there were men working in the mine. There was a city of silver and gold, with buildings seemed to scrape the sky itself. There was a man who stood over a sleeping dragon, his sword dripping in blood. There was a court, a jury, and a man pointing his finger at the dragon, blurting out words of madness and insanity. There was a portal and a stone temple. There was a push, and there was darkness. The man looked at the dragon and felt himself become overwhelmed with a feeling he couldn't control. He saw his race, but then he saw someone else. He knew about ponies from some sort of prior knowledge that he had been born with. Tell me. Why? Wait, tell me, he pleaded. Why? A flash of light and the man saw himself in a vast city. He was in a chamber that had many beds. None of them were occupied, but the stranger at the counter said that the man could sleep here. The man had nowhere else to go. His family left him. He lost his job and house. He was in the streets, and despite of reputing as a survivor man, he knew nothing about surviving in a concrete jungle. He gladly took his chance to be outside instead of out in the cold. The man saw himself go to sleep. Time flashed forward by a few days. There was an uproar, and an infection spread across the world like a wildfire. There were bodies and corpses walking the streets. There were iron-barred fences, and there was fear in people's eyes. The man was on the screen of some sort of box. It was a TV. The disease we thought would just wait. The disease we thought only killed the equestrians are now killing us, mutating the immune to these mindless corpses. There was a scream, and a man fell. There was a village in the meadow that was set ablaze. There was a man on the TV saying, "We have no choice. Maybe some of us will live. Yet they will not escape having a few mutations done to themselves as well." There was a man laying on his bed, safe and sound in a bunker. There was a rocket that propelled into the air. There was a city of silver and gold that collapsed under a mushroom cloud. There was a planet that woke up in the hatred towards the man, and the mutation that allowed us to explode in its fury. There was a man who there there was a man who woke up and saw a beach ahead of him. There was a man who cried. There was a man who drank something to forget what was once there. There was a man. Then the man woke up with a start. Around him stood trees and lush green mountains. Where am I? His light flashed, and he was back at to staring at the dragon. The dragon's eyes seemed to speak in a voice of thunderous fury. He said, speaking aloud, "For years your kind has come here to slay me, and when you slayed yourselves, I was alone in this world. I made myself a companions, but they shy away from me all the time. There are versions of you who brought the end to me, and all I cared for you who robbed the land of her riches to use for yourself, you who call the monsters outside monsters when you haven't even taken a good look at yourself. What do they have? What do you have to say?" The man was silent, only spoken a few times. That had to himself. He thought of the monsters had seen and how, in the darkest moments of his life, he had found a way to make it through. He felt all his memories that lay dormant in his mind erupt. The man spoke. I don't know why. I don't know why it happened and how it happened, but for all of us, and from one ancient to another, I want to say, I'm sorry. Sorry for what happened. Sorry for letting it happen. Sorry for making it happen. Sorry for not doing anything after it happened. The dragon looked at the man with eyes that shadow the millennia of secrets and wisdom. He pulled out an egg magically out from his clawed hands. Take it. I want it before your kind destroys my city. Use it to start the cycle again. Maybe when we die and regenerate in the future, we will not meet as enemies, but as friends. The man found himself levitating before he was pulling into the portal. He was on the path that he built to his house. The sun was shining. The man walked towards his house. Somewhere below the rotting earth, a dragon was watching his room collapse. When it did, the shadows would destroy the world before him. The dragon wasn't scared. He didn't know why, but he had some sort of feeling that the end everything was going to be alright. A few days later, the man was back home. He was in bed, and he was staring at his fireplace. His house looked untouched, but it was normal and just cozy. The man turned around to see the egg. It was speckled and blue. The life inside it was pulsing through the living network of energy that held the shell together. The man reached out and touched it. There would be an end to this current world. There would be a dragon that came from this egg. There would be a tribe that came from this dragon. There would be a new world. There would be a magical land. There would be a land of magical ponies. There would be a voyage led by a group of foolhardy men and women. There would be a man and a purple unicorn making a cure for some sort of disease. There would be a boy, dragon, and a filly playing together by a bench, picturing before them a floating city of gold and silver. There will be a city of gold and silver. There will be a man who never lost his family. There will be a dragon who never lost his friends. A unicorn who never lost her life. The plant who would never explode. The man woke up. He saw the world before him, scarred and old. He looked down to see the egg clutched in his arms. He laid the egg by the fire and tended to it. A new world, a new life. Now the egg was in an obsidian shelter below the earth, safe and sound, and ready to hatch at the right time. He wouldn't be there to see it. He relished in his memories before going to his bed. He slept, knowing he would just wake up. Wake up. Okay, there was the story. Minecraft, a true story. My Little Pony based. With the guy knowing about the thing. So this is Okay, Minecraft, the true story by Grace Hunter, read by E.A. Trooper. Serious reading. So this is E.A. Trooper saying, this was pretty a good story, well written, and can you please send in any requests of what I should read, because I need something to do. Any requests I can read on filmfiction.net. So this is E.A. Trooper signing off.